I'm Dr. Uche, a practicing physician who's been coaching others to write and publish their biographies since 2013. The first autobiographies I brought to publication were for my dad and granddad, and those took more than 5 years and lots of mistakes. On this channel, I will show you the tools I use to perfect the process so that you can have your biography done in 6 months or less without the delays and mistakes. Remember to subscribe and share with your friends. Let's dig in. So, what if you don't want to write a full, long chronological story or a complete, detailed autobiography? Are there other things you could put together that would be useful, valuable to your family, your children, your grandchildren? The answer is yes. So, what am I talking about? Yes, it's totally okay to not want to write the whole thing, okay? It takes a lot more thought and time, and not everybody is inclined to write that much. But yes, there are other things you could write down for your family that would be pretty useful. So, the first is family tree and ancestry, okay? The further we go out, the more we forget. I have an idea of my grandparents, but I don't really know people before them. I have the names written down because this is something that I'm interested in. I never met those folks, but I have their names written down because I asked my father and he gave them to me. But most people know names back maybe 3-4 generations and not much more than that. So whatever you write today, tomorrow in the future, your grandchildren may find very useful. Family tree. Write down the ancestry, write it accurately. Ask the older members of your family who was mother to who was father to who. Where did this person live, and that person, did somebody emigrate from another place? Where did they come from? Do you know anything about where they were before? The village, the city, the town, the country, obviously. Take down notes and write those details. That is very useful to have, okay? So that's ancestry. The next thing would be, what is different for now compared to when you were growing up? What did kids play with? Where did you get your water? What is different for you compared to the experience your children and grandchildren got to know, or their lived experiences? I remember my child one day asking me about YouTube and TikTok and saying, I can't imagine how it was without YouTube and TikTok. And of course, that wasn't part of my childhood. This is new stuff. This is Gen Z stuff. I'm an older millennial, and we didn't grow up with TikTok and social media. I was already in med school when the internet had been around, but for it to become a lot more widespread, institutional email addresses, that was during my time in med school. And Facebook, I signed up for Facebook, I believe in 2007 personally. Now I know it had been there earlier, but I had not signed up till 2007. So just to give you an example of how things change over time, most of us are 20 to 30 years older than our kids, right? So a lot could have changed. So that's something else you could include in a more brief write-up. Here's another thing: blessings and disappointments, okay, and controversies. Did you make any decisions that people wonder about? Why did she do that? Why did he leave this job? Why did he move there? Why did he leave his country? And so on and so forth. So controversial decisions, you get a chance in your autobiography to explain yourself, okay? To redeem yourself in a sense. Explain why you made some decisions that may be controversial, but perhaps some of them turned out great for you. Maybe some not so much. Maybe it was a mistake and you wouldn't have done it if you had a chance to do it again. So things like that can be explained away in a more brief life story. So I mentioned anything that's kind of surprising, that is different for your children compared to yourself. I mentioned blessings, disappointments, even controversies, okay? And then I mentioned family tree and ancestry as also very important. I hope you find that helpful, and I'll see you in my next video.